Good morning everybody from a beautiful sunny Moscow. It's Friday morning and it's about 1 week until I leave Moscow forever. Well, maybe not forever, who knows what the future holds, but definitely for the time being. And I've been thinking about the things that I'm going to miss. So what I wanted to do is give you my top 5 things that I'll miss the most here in Moscow. You ready to get into it? Let's go. Right, so just before we do get into it, please do hit subscribe. Channel's at about 72,000 subscribers. It would be great to get it up to maybe say 75,000 before I leave Moscow. I do appreciate it if you subscribe. And also, I will do, maybe tomorrow, or maybe even tonight, because I'm going to the airport, which I'll tell you about in a second. I will do my 5 things that I'm not going to miss about Moscow, because people say I only say good things. But obviously I've chose to live here, so I do like it. But there are some things, just like anywhere, that you're not going to like. So, number 1, the first thing that I'm going to miss is the transport. Now that is the taxis, the metro, the tram, all the different transport options that you've got here. The water bus, we've done a video, me and Arisha in Russia, I've done a video on the water bus and it was pretty slow, let's be honest. It's more for tourism than it is for actually getting around the city. But one of the things that I'm going to really miss is the ease and the low cost of getting around the city. Now the metro, obviously, I've done loads of videos in the metro, other people have done them as well. How easy it is, how low cost it is, and how beautiful it is when you're down there. I think after a while of living here, you tend to just get on and you stop looking around at the beauty as you do get used to it. But if I'm trying to get from where I live, Akademicheskaya, which is slightly south of the centre, to somewhere like an appointment or something, it is so much faster to take the metro than it is to go in a taxi. So that is one thing to bear in mind. Now, as you can see, look, check out the roads. People talk about Moscow traffic being really bad. It's bad if you're inside the Garden Ring. Now, I don't live inside the Garden Ring, so you see one car going past. So it's only really bad if you're trying to traverse across or north to south, south to north, the city. And also, only really at certain times, the sort of rush hour times during the day, etc. So the metro, unbelievably cheap. Also, you can buy your Troika card, which gets you on the metro, the tram, all the rest of them. All the rest of the different trains that go around Moscow. But also the taxis here are so cheap compared to the UK. Now, I've not been in a taxi in the UK for a while, but I imagine as soon as you step in to a black cab in Glasgow, you're already down £5. Now here, you can easily go to the airport from where I live, Vnukovo, for 1,000 rubles, which is about £10. And that's a good 35 minutes. Obviously it gets more expensive at different times, but the Yandex app, which I'm reliably told by people who are here as tourists, that you can't really use because you can't get a phone number, you can't get a SIM card if you're a foreigner and you don't have your, what would you call it, your registration and all these things. So then that's a little bit more difficult, but maybe that will be something in the other video that I'm going to do. But at the moment, the low cost of travel around the city, the taxis, I've never felt the need to get a car, never wanted to get a car, never wanted to deal with, buying it, getting insurance and all the rest of it, Moscow, because I could probably take a taxi every day and it'd be cheaper than a car payment. So that's number 1. The ease, the comfort and the low cost of the travel within the city. Next one is the convenience and the 24/7 deliveries that you can get. Again, on the Yandex app, which again you might struggle to use as a tourist. But there's different options on the Yandex app. Of course, you can get the scooters, which I love. You can get the taxis, which are low cost. You have a thing called Lavka. Lavka is basically, correct me if I'm wrong, Russians, but it's sort of warehouses that are dotted around the city. There's one on every, wherever you live, whatever apartment building you live in, there's going to be one that's very close to you. Then you have all the guys that do the deliveries. A lot of these guys come in from countries like Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, on a work visa, I guess, to do the deliveries. They're all on sort of electric bikes. And Lavka is usually things like you would get from a supermarket or pre-made meals, things like that. Where I'm situated, I've just walked past one of those Lavka places. It's only about, from ordering, pretty much any time of the day or night, about 20 minutes until it arrives. So that means if I need big bottles of water, or, well, really if I need anything that you would buy from, say, a supermarket, apart from alcohol, they don't deliver alcohol for obvious reasons, I guess, so that wouldn't be, wouldn't be abused by people who are not of age to drink alcohol. But yeah, otherwise, with Lavka, you can get anything. Now, there is one of my videos I did about putting up my Christmas tree. And I hadn't put up my Christmas tree for a while, and I took the two parts and I jammed one and I put it in the wrong way and it got completely stuck. And you can go back and find that video somewhere. I can't even remember what it's called. It was a couple of years ago. And I had to get a spanner, a shifting spanner, to pull it out. And the guy who delivered the shifting spanner at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Here's one of the guys here. Here's one of the guys delivering. There you go. These guys work hard. In the winter, in the rain, when it's minus 25 outside, these guys will deliver. And then of course you can get your deliveries not just from Lavka, but from restaurants, takeaway places, all the normal stuff that we have in the UK. And then of course you've got Wildberries and Ozone, which I think is to be honest, I think is a good system, because of course we have like Amazon back home, and you put in your delivery and it will come to your house and stuff like that. But since everybody lives in apartments and there's so many people here, I think it's a good system that almost every apartment block has like the Ozone or Wildberries office. So you do your delivery and usually it will come the next day, and then you just go in with your QR code. You don't even need to speak to the guy if you've not got very good Russian. You just beep it, it gives you stuff, never fails. And then if you, for some reason, if you want to take it back, you can just take it back. So again, I'm not lived in the UK for a little while, so I don't think we've got as good. I still get a lot of, not a lot, but I still get Amazon deliveries to my parents for like presents and stuff like that. And I guess it is pretty good, but a lot of times you've got to be in, or they like give it to a neighbour or something like that. So I quite like the system here. So that was number two, this sort of 24/7 convenience of deliveries and services for your shopping or your products. All right guys, number three ties in a little bit with the last one, and it is the cost of living. The cost of living for me personally, and we've got to bear in mind when we watch these videos, because a lot of people get quite angry if you talk about things like the cost of living, and they say, well, you know, for the average person, blah, 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 blah. Always remember, I'm talking about me. Some people have got a lot more money than me, some people have got less money than me. But for me, the cost of living here, even though it has risen significantly since I first arrived, it is definitely going up, especially rent. But the cost of living here is significantly lower than the UK. Things like, well, utilities are way lower. You won't believe, British people would be absolutely dumbfounded by how little it costs to heat your house for about 6 months, because it's really cold for about 6 months of the year here, they would be really, really surprised how low cost it is. Now, I do take into account that if someone's on a very sort of average to lower wage here in Moscow, then the cost of living is not low, okay? Because I would say that because of the minimum wage and the medium wage and in Scotland where I'm from, people, obviously, the average person does get paid more in the UK than they do in Russia. That's without a doubt. But for me here, things cost a lot less than they would. Even going out to like really nice restaurants, you go out, you pay for two, you have drinks and stuff like that. It's that type of thing that is significantly lower. The taxis that I told you about, you can get all over the city for significantly less. Rent is rising. In the last 3 years, rent has went up a lot. Maybe in the comments, you guys could tell me other things that have went up. So I do know that things have risen. So I'm not completely blind to that. But yeah, compared to the UK, then it's not even a question. You go to the supermarket, it's cheaper, but of course you could go to Azbuka Akusa, which is like their Waitrose, and you're like, what? Then it's more expensive than back home. So there is a wide range of options, but there's also a wide range of salaries, because there's a lot of people in Moscow with a lot of money, but then there's a lot of people who probably don't earn much at all. So you really need to find your own level in it. But for me, the cost of living here compared to home is definitely less. Alright, number 4 on things that I'm going to miss in Moscow. It's something that I talk about in a lot of my videos, but it is true. The safety and cleanliness of the city can only be rivaled, I think, in my experience, by Minsk in Belarus. But Minsk in Belarus is a lot smaller, a lot quieter. So in Moscow, and I'm pretty sure women feel the same way about this, because I do know women here, there's never really a time where you ever feel unsafe. There's never really a time where, and I know this cues all the people that don't like me to talk about like a drone hit in an oil refinery, of course, but I like it when those people comment, because it means that the video's getting pushed to new people. People are watching, I'm making money. That's basically how YouTube works. So you do need new people to watch your stuff as well. So those people are all right. So if you want to comment about drones and things like that, please do, because it does help me out. But yeah, I'm talking about the safety of like crime. You never think you're going to get robbed. You never think you're going to get randomly attacked. Anything like that. You don't feel like your things are going to get stolen. One of the big things, I was talking to somebody about this, I can't remember who it was. Like when you go into like a pub here or something, everybody will just hang their jackets up, you know, at the door or whatever, but a lot of times it's like unattended. I was trying to explain to somebody who was Russian, like you just couldn't do that in the UK. Somebody would just nick your jacket. If you had a decent jacket, somebody would just nick it. But obviously I'm used to it now, so I'm used to a time where, or I've been in a place where you can kind of sit your phone down. Nobody really takes your stuff. But the big one, I suppose, especially as you get older in life and you grow up, just like groups of young people. And I'm sure I was one of those young people that annoyed everybody. Just as young people are, especially like working class or lower income type neighbourhoods that you live in, outside shops, on buses, all that type of stuff. Moscow seems to not have that type of culture, and I can only imagine that it's tied to, I guess it's tied to the rule of law. I'm not sure. But it just doesn't have that thing where you look at, when you see people talking about London and people getting their phones stolen, or somebody going past on an e-bike or whatever. Moscow doesn't have any of that. Which is good because, again, especially as you get older, you just don't want to live somewhere where any of that stuff happens. Like, it's just not interesting at all. I know it's not interesting to the people that it's happening to either, but like really, I can't stress enough that the next place that I live, that'll be probably the highest thing on the priorities list, especially having a wife, children. It's just not worth it to be around crime or danger and things like that. So that was that number 4? I need to check my list. All right guys, number 5. By the way, as you might see that I've got the bag on, I've got this little guy for my money and stuff, because I'm going straight to the airport today. Not to leave, well, to leave but to come back. Not to leave for good, but I will be going straight to the airport. That's why I'm all bagged up. The next one is, and I'm going to preface this by saying, I'm not a huge fan of winter. I'm not a huge fan of cold weather. I'm not a huge fan of snow. But for a couple of weeks, the winter wonderland transformation that Moscow has really can't be rivaled. I've never seen another city decorate and go all out with the lights, with the attractions, with the markets. I mean, maybe it exists somewhere, but I've not seen it. So, this will probably crop up in the things that I'm not going to miss, is that it snows. Well, is that the weather, it starts raining, I think I'm going the wrong way, about October, then keeps sort of cold, bad weather. And then like December, January, February, even into March, it's like snow on the ground and stuff. That does get a bit tedious. But for the short amount of time, sort of Christmas, well, like the British Christmas, 25th of December through to Novi God, New Year, it's just such an amazing time. It's great to go to the Red Square, it's great to see all the ice skating and stuff like that, even though I'm terrible at ice skating. And if you've got, as much as I would say, if you're going to come here, come in summer, but if you were also able to come for just a couple of weeks, because it does get a bit much, it does get very grey during the day. We've got a lovely blue sky today. Hopefully the camera's picking it up. But the winter wonderland transformation that Moscow has cannot be rivaled. Alright guys, I'm going to give you one bonus one, because it's pretty much pertinent just to me and just to my channel, and that is, once I leave Moscow and I carry on YouTube making videos, I'm well aware that I'm not sure if I'm going to be in a more interesting place, whether that is actually the stuff that I'm showing, or is that just like people who want to see what it's like here. Again, the people that don't like Moscow, don't like Russia, love to watch the videos. So it's a bit like stalking your ex, isn't it? And saying that you don't like them anymore. That's what these people are like. They love to watch the videos and they love to comment to tell you how much they don't like your videos, which is great, because as always, when we're making YouTube videos, it's better if people just watch, whether they like it or not. But that is probably my little bonus one, is that will I ever be in a place where I can just walk out and go into a supermarket, make a video, and it'll be interesting to people. Walk out through a park, or maybe walk down a nice street, because obviously every city in the world doesn't hold the interest that Moscow does, because of the publicity it gets, because of the media attention it gets. So that is the last one. That was my bonus one. I'll probably miss being able to just walk out my door and get YouTube content every single day. Alright guys, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. There will be also coming 5 things that I'm not going to miss, because people always say that I don't say anything bad. But I'll tell you the things that I'm not going to miss. Thanks very much for watching. I'm going to go and get a coffee. See you later.